Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Peachy and this channel is all about my Sylvanian Families collection. In today's video I'm going to show you my Halloween setup for 2023, and I've been really excited to film this video. I've been working on this setup for a while, the last couple of weekends and bits in between. I've used some decorations from last year, I've got some new decorations, some doll's house bits and bobs from this year. I've changed up the whole layout on the table. So last year we did Halloween in the town, and I'll pop a link to that video here so you can take a look at last year's setup if you'd like. For this year I've focused on Tony era buildings, and this is kind of like Halloween in the old town part of my village, so the oldest section of the village, and this is kind of the high street scene. So in terms of where we are in the room, this is my long table. So here's the bookshelves here, and then the chest of drawers, and then this is the long table, and here's my little desk over here. So a complete change on this table, and it's the first time that I've changed the setup from the town series building, so that was also really exciting. So let's go ahead and get right on with looking at the scene in detail. So I think we'll start at this end of the table, and this is Mayor Wadlington's house. So I wanted to give them quite a fancy garden, and then obviously there's their townhouse here. So if we take a look at the garden first, I've made this little pathway here just out of just craft paper, and then this fountain here is Sylvanian, and then I've used the same potpourri that I used last year to give the kind of effect of autumn leaves, but I figured it would all be quite swept up and neat in the mayor's garden. Here's their car just parked here. And then these hay bales and these jack-o'-lanterns, these are Doll's House. I think they're from Streets Ahead Doll's House. And then we've just got some garden furniture, some trees. These are Halloween tea lights, but I thought they looked quite fun as like outdoor decorations. And then these buntings here. So this one I made last year and I used it again this year. And then these are Sylvanian ones from the Halloween set. So we've got some trick-or-treaters coming up and down the path, and the mayoress is greeting them with a big basket of lollipops. And then going up, you can see here the mayor and mayoress's little ducklings are supposed to be having a nap, but it's so vibrant and exciting outside that they've snuck out of the bedroom onto the balcony to take a peek at what's going on. And then there's another bunting up here. Again, I made this last year, and this is just Halloween like table confetti that I put onto a string. And then up the top here we have the annual Cobweb Ball. So Mayor Wadlington hosts this ball every year with live music, and then there's some little jack-o'-lanterns up here. These are again just Doll's House bits. And then there's also a buffet and a very fancy looking cake, and some guests are already here and the night is just beginning. I really wanted to make sure I included a house in this scene so I could have trick-or-treaters coming and going. So the one I thought that would fit perfectly is the mayor's house, because it's Tony era and it kind of fits in with the rest of the street scene, and it's a townhouse, so I figured it fits in with the other buildings as well. So this section is at the end of the high street, and then we move into the high street area itself. Quite a lot going on here. The scene is quite deep, so let's start at the back and come forwards. So this is the Tony village store. In my village it's run by the grey rabbits here. These are the Babblebrookes. Inside through the window you can see Mrs. Babblebrook, and she's talking to Mrs. Whiskers, who's been doing some shopping. We've got bunting along again, some more banners, and then we've got some more jack-o'-lanterns in the window. The one just in the middle there, that one is Sylvanian, the rest are not. And then in this window I popped some other props from the Magical Baby series, as I thought they worked quite well for Halloween. Got a nice display of autumnal fruit and veg out the front, and Mr. Babblebrook is picking up some more apples to refill the bobbing for apples bucket. So if I just move the Whiskers sister here, you can see that her brother is bobbing for apples, and the Babblebrook's daughter is running this stall. So this makes a return from last year because I liked it so much, I liked how it came out, so I had to include it again this year. Then coming forwards again, we have the village sweet shop. I figure this is perfect for Halloween since you want to be getting candy and sweets and things for trick-or-treaters. So it seemed like the perfect stall to use for that. And then in the front here is Mr. Webster having a chat with Mr. Thistlethorn. So Mr. Webster's finished his milk rounds. He does those early in the morning. It's the afternoon now, so he's taking some flour along to the bakery, and we'll see that in a little bit. These signs here, I had great fun making those on the computer and then printing them out. I wanted them to have kind of a not wholly professional look. I wanted them to look like the villagers had made them themselves. So I think my lack of graphic design skills has come in somewhat handy there in making them look quite authentic to be designed by someone with no skills whatsoever. And then behind the candy cart, we've got the village store with pumpkins for sale, obviously. Perfect time of year for pumpkin sales, all sorts of different pumpkins on the back there. These darker orange ones are actually made out of plasticine, and they are from my scene last year. I've reused them again. You can see another one behind Mr. Whiskers there, and that one's shaped like a cat. I put them in storage and I didn't know if they would hold up very well, but they did. They held up perfectly, so I've been able to use them again this year. So that little sign I made as well, the pumpkins for sale one, I was quite proud of that one. That was probably the one that came out the best. So these pumpkins are coming in from the farm, and Mr. Blackberry here is delivering them in a wheelbarrow. The Babblebrook Sun here is putting them onto display, and we've got extra baskets, so there's plenty of pumpkins to go around for pumpkin pie, for carving, all sorts of Halloween fun. And then on the door just here, I printed out this little Halloween wreath to go on the door, as I thought it looked quite nice. Just to have a bit more decoration. So that's just printed out on just normal paper. And then I realised I forgot to call out PC Bobby Roberts here is obviously helping himself to a lollipop from the sweet shop. I think in the scene last year he was helping himself to a donut, so it feels like he always needs to be getting himself a sweet treat in these scenes now. So moving along the table a little bit, we've got the next section here. Let's go from back to front again. So at the back is the village dressmakers. So in my village this is run by Roxy Reynard, who you can see in the door here. And the Puddleford ducks are about to go in. They're going to get their ducklings some Halloween costumes. The sign just here says Halloween costumes for sale. And there's a little jack-o'-lantern in the window. There's some more, that bunting carrying on across, and some other Sylvanian bits from that Halloween set. I took the dapper pumpkins, so the pumpkin with the top hat and the pumpkin with the fancy white hat. So they were outside the Grand Department Store last year. I figured they worked perfectly outside of the dressmakers. And in the window just here, you can see a little display of Halloween costumes, and there's some masks on there as well. So there are the Halloween costumes that are for sale. And then here are the Marmalade grandparents. And this is kind of like a photo spot where you can have your picture taken with the pumpkin and the witch's hat. And the grandfather here has got some popcorn from the popcorn cart. We will get there in a minute. Mrs. Thistlethorn is having a stroll around as well. Then coming down to the front, so this is a Halloween colouring competition with lots of prizes to be won. And there's a little chocolate rabbit here just reading her spell book. But here's the colouring table, so all of the little stationery things are Sylvanian, a couple more of those jack-o'-lanterns. I got a pack of like 20 of these off of eBay, but I think they came from China, but they were pretty good size. And then these sheets here, they are just children's colouring sheets, and I just printed them out in Sylvanian scale. And there's more over here. So you can see these children haven't started yet, but they're about to start. And the Thistlethorn daughter here, she's picking out which design she would like to do. I put the eraser on here in order to stop them blowing away in the wind. And then there's some more of that confetti that I've just attached to the table here to make it a little bit more seasonally appropriate. And then coming along a bit, you can see the Wildwood children, and they haven't done these particular designs, they've done their own drawings, and they're running off to show their parents, who we'll find a bit further on in the scene. But again, these are just actual drawings that I found on Google and then just printed them out in Sylvanian size. And then here we have the popcorn cart with some little Halloween decorations put onto it. I figured it's probably a little bit too cold for ice cream, so no Elsie on this scene with her ice cream bike, but instead we've got Barbara Dale here with her popcorn bike. Popcorn seemed pretty seasonally appropriate. And you can see another jack-o'-lantern in the back there on the building. Another lamppost as well. So then if we head along again, you can see there's a little alleyway just down here with a phone box. And that has some bunting strung across it down to the back. And there is Mr. Reynard, and he's putting up a poster. I don't know whether you can quite see that, but it's for the Mayor's Cobweb Ball. It's being held at Wadlington Manor. And then in the back here we've got the bakery. So this is the Sylvanian bakery. There's Marion Bright Eyes in the takeout window there, and she's got a cauldron full of lollipops. Another one of those wreaths on the door. And then I tried to find any Halloween kind of cookies or cakes that I had and put them in the window. So we've got a plate of spooky cookies, and then these are from the newest Halloween set. I thought these could be pumpkin pies, and those little pumpkins are from that newest Halloween set as well. And then coming forward a bit, we've got the pumpkin carving table. So these are the pumpkins returning from last year. These are plasticine again. And there's a couple of small ones there for the babies to be able to do. Mrs. Cakebread is the one who has the knife and is doing the carving, and her daughter is here as well. She's probably old enough to do a little bit of the carving, but the babies will definitely need some help. And I've got another of my little signs there, pumpkin carving open all day. And then here is Reggie Midnight. He is making a return from last year's scene. Also, he is popping out of this leaf pile and giving Mr. Chantilly a terrible fright. He's so frightened he's dropped his broom. I think Reggie just looks really cute in the leaves, so I wanted to bring that back as well, as I liked it so much last year. And then in the background here you can see the florist shop and cart. So May Blossom is there, and there is Miss Marble, my custom Sylvanian based on my cat. Pete Petite is here, and he's taking some more supplies along to the Mayor's party. The Tailbury grandparents are out for a walk. Along the end of the table we've got the village florist and the post office. Got some pumpkins on the top there, and also some more of that bunting. We've also got a witch's broom, and there's some decorations on the side of the post office just there. More leaves and more of those plasticine pumpkins. And then the last piece of the scene, you can see just here the sign says learn how to bake spooky cookies, and then the bit that you won't be able to see is that says with special guest Christopher Appleblossom, and then it gives times, and that is taking place on top of the bakery. So just up here we've got a baking class going on. Here's Christopher Appleblossom at the back here, and he's teaching us all about how to make these pumpkin shaped cookies, or you could make animal shaped ones and make them a bit spooky for Halloween. Mr. Maces is here. He's taking photos of the whole event for the paper, but we've caught him here taking a picture of Christopher Appleblossom and Belinda Bright Eyes, who are putting the ingredients, measuring them all out. Then we've got shape cutting over here and a decorating table over here. Some more pumpkins and leaves up here as well. But yes, that's my scene for this year. Just slowly go back the whole way along so you can see everything all together. I'm really pleased with how the scene came out this year. After last year, I was really struggling to kind of think of ideas in the beginning, but then as I started to kind of put the buildings in, ideas started to come to me. So I'm glad I didn't have a complete like block on what to do for this year. I've also got some ideas for next year already forming, so that should be fun when we get to it. But yes, that's all for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I'll pop some photos here at the end that I've taken of the scene, just so you can see some of the details kind of still instead of wobbling around with me trying to hold the tripod still. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which is your favourite kind of activity that we've got going on the scene. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye for now.